veterinary medicine. There's a huge difference between a holistic perspective of immunology and the traditional viewpoint of immunology from most veterinarians pertaining to vaccines. What do you feel are the top 10 facts that aren't told about vaccines to the average pet owner?
I think it's very difficult for our profession because we've had vaccines for decades and decades and decades, and it was the sort of golden grail of veterinary medicine. It was a way of assuring that our clients would come in to see us regularly, get us to do wellness exams, get us to talk about things and practice preventive medicine. There's been a huge push by industry as well, as you would expect, to promote proper vaccinations. However, the veterinary profession is not really told about the adverse reaction rate. It is downplayed all the time, or it is denied. And often when a vaccine is given and an animal becomes sick shortly afterwards, it's hard for the veterinarian to link the vaccination as part of the problem because they're so used to giving vaccines and not thinking about the potential for adverse reactions.
Yes. And what do you feel, I guess the frustration within the holistic community is that this is absolutely well known, but then the question is, why is our profession still reluctant to embrace this knowledge and really convey it to the public? Why is this feel like it's the best kept secret?
I think we're still in a process of denial, even though this has been going on for 2 decades or more. And I think if you actually go to the refereed literature that they see, as opposed to the research immunology literature, there's very little written about adverse reactions. Yes, an occasional horrible situation with rabies-induced tumors at the vaccine site, for example, which most people identify with cats and not dogs, even though it can occur in both species. And so I think it is that we don't talk enough about it. And I think one of the things we absolutely need to do in the veterinary medical holistic community is to start documenting adverse reactions with more case studies and do case study cohort reports so that veterinarians can understand the predisposing factors that would raise the likelihood of a particular pet animal having an adverse vaccine reaction.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent suggestion. Do you feel like the vaccine industry representatives fail to inform veterinarians about duration of immunity as well as regional or local differences?
Oh gosh, I guess you could say absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to understand the vaccine sales force, which is the people that veterinarians most see. It's their job to promote their vaccines and their company's products. And vaccine companies do an excellent job in making vaccines today. There's no question about that. The problem is they cannot control, it's not one size fits all. Mm-hmm. Animals are individuals, and they have genetic differences, and they have nutritional differences, and they have physiological differences. So why would you expect a vaccine with its combo-wombo mixture of antigens and other factors in there, tissue culture remnants, fetal calf serum remnants, adjuvants if it's a killed product, why would you expect all animals to be able to handle it equally?
Right.
When the testing of these vaccines is done primarily in controlled laboratory situations and in a few field studies, but the numbers of animal studies in the field are so small you couldn't possibly see the kind of reactions we see in the real world.
Yep. So then why isn't that being discussed? It just seems like we're not discussing it nearly to the extent that it's occurring.
I think that's correct. Now, people say vaccine adverse reactions are somewhere between 1% and 3% of the total. And that may be an accurate figure. It's most likely underreported, as it is in people. But we give millions and millions of vaccines. Mm-hmm. So even if the response rate was as low as 1% to 3%, I think it's more like 5% to 9%. That would be my guess.
Yes.
And it's only a guess. That's still a lot of animals. And what are we going to do about them? And when they're critically ill, we don't want to turn the public off on vaccines at all. I mean, people say, Jean, you're a vaccine advocate against vaccines. You don't even recommend vaccination, which is not true at all.
Right.
Appropriate vaccination is what's important.
Right. And so just